Is that better?
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. Right, I'm trying to blind Mac McCracken. Max, my favourite person in the whole wide world. Everyone knows that. But welcome back. So good to see you. I've been living in your gym for the past couple of weeks, haven't I?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of you lately, Abby, haven't we? How are you? You okay?
All the better for seeing you. Talk to us a little bit about today. We saw Hughie Fury sparring Solomon Dacres, who's getting ready to fight David Adeleye. The date is coming up quickly. We've gone from March the 16th, it didn't happen, and we are fast approaching July the 20th.
Yeah, we're nearly there, finally nearly there. So, like, the last week, next week, sparring, last spar, so, you know, get through that and we're ready to go.
Max, could I ask, has this camp been any different to any of the others that you've had with Solomon? Like, compared to, like, the calibre of fighters, the prep?
Yeah, we've had a lot of good fighters in there come sparring like this, especially Hughie Fury, who's been really good in the spars with Sol. You know, so I has to be switched on with him and takes a lot away from it, you know, from these spars. But yeah, it's been a long camp because, like you say, March 16th, that fell through. Then we were told April, nothing come in April. Then we was told May. So he's had to stay in the gym, really, with the, you know, a week off here and there. You know, we haven't overdone it, we haven't burnt him out, but it's been a long camp. But, you know, he's done like probably 3 camps in one with the breaks. You know, he's had the weeks to recover and that. But, like, you look at, you know, all the sparring he's done in that, which is, you know, in the long run, it's helped, isn't it?
How does he find it though? Obviously you're very close to him. You two are literally like father and son. I see the banter. I see you tell him straight as well. And for those at home and those that are involved in boxing, Max is a coach that if he thinks you're not doing well, he's going to tell you. He's not going to sit there and start clambering with tambourines and saying how fantastic you are when you could have done better.
No, because it'll have like a detrimental effect on it if you don't tell them, you know, what you see and what's going on. It's not going to help them, is it? Do you know what I mean? So, like, you've just got to be straight, and what you've seen, you've got to tell them.
The weeks that he's had in camp, though, how have you managed to keep him like motivated? Like you said, it was March, it was April, should have been May, and now we're in July. How do you keep him like fully motivated to say, look, the date's going to come. There's been a postponement, but we still need you to stay on your game.
Well, you know, he's with Queen's Reason, he's with Frank Warren. You know, they're big, one of the best promoters in the world. So you know the date's going to be there. It's just when it comes, you know. So these are big fights now. This fight, you know, it's going to go on to lead to bigger fights. So you just keep the enthusiasm, don't you? Just keep working.
We know that David Adeleye has recently changed coach. When I say recently, he's probably enough for this camp. But recently, as he wasn't with him before, he's now with Adam Booth. We know that Adam Booth has got Josh Kelly, he's, you know, numero uno fighter. Also, he recently had Felix Cash that went up against Tyler Denny. Now he's David Adeleye under the tutelage of Adam Booth. How do you see that as a benefit for Adeleye to come into a fight like this?
I mean, it should be a benefit to Adeleye. David, I know Adam Booth. I've known him a long time. He's a good coach. So he'll be better than the last time. But, you know, Sol will be ready for anything that they come with. You know, we've worked long and hard for this fight. And we're just ready to go now.
When you look at, like, statuses and stuff, you know, obviously the English title is on the line. This is a defence for that. But when you look at, like, the names, David Adeleye is definitely a good name to fight. We saw him out last with Fabio Wardley. I mean, what was your kind of feedback on your thoughts on that fight that you had with Fabio?
I thought he started well, Adelaide. I thought his jab was nice and sharp. He sort of snapped Wardley's head back a few times. You know, he was in the fight, wasn't he? Then he seemed to fade. Wardley seemed to get on top and sort of walked him down. And, you know, the end come, what was it, the 7th round, was it?
I think so, 6 or 7.
In the 7th, so, I mean, you know, he was competing in there, wasn't he? You know, it's just like, you just got to expect David Adeleye to be his absolute best in the next fight. You've got to expect 10 tough rounds, which Solly's prepared for.
And would you say, I mean, it might seem like an obvious question, but when you look at the calibre of opponents, not just the name itself, but as in the fight style, would you say that David Adeleye is going to be the best fighter that Solomon has fought? Or would you say that some of the others have better attributes?
What, that he's fought so far?
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be David Adeleye, isn't it? You know, when you look at the rankings and all that, it'd be David Adeleye. So, you know, it's going to be a good fight. It's a good British level fight. Yeah. You know, that will lead to bigger things.
And talking about leading to bigger things, you know, we have to be positive. We have to make that presumption that Solomon is going to come through this and retain the belt. He's often mentioned, I saw a couple of clips with Queensbury, that his eyes are on the next prize, which is the British. There's rumours about Fabio and Fraser running that back again after their draw. How do you think that fight goes this time, and winning this fight, putting Solomon in that position to go for the winner of that?
Yeah, which fight? They're Wardley and Clark. Yeah, the next one, I don't know. I think Fraser will take a lot from that. It was a tough fight for both of them, but I think Fraser's been in tough as an amateur. He's been in like tough fights. He's fought world level, hasn't he? Amateurs. He's not the same as pros, but I think he may have taken a little bit more from that and really believe in himself and go, you know, I can do this now, and really push on. I'd favour Fraser in the return.
And then say Fraser comes through, then it's like the Team GB. How do you see that? Like, you know, both fighters getting it on. Should obviously Solomon get in the position, and it's that #1 podium going back to GB days. Obviously Fraser went out twice. Solomon decided to turn pro because it's like, oh my God, how long am I going to wait for this opportunity? I've got to really think about my career. I'm 20, whatever it was, 27. That little bit of potential rivalry that could come from those pair fighting.
It could do, but I mean, you just can't look at that fight yet. You got to just look at David Adeleye. You know, we're just concentrating on David Adeleye at the minute. You know, Fraser's there, but we're not thinking of Fraser Clark at the minute. Just, you know, all our efforts are going into beating David Adeleye.
So Max, then, ideally, when Solomon does go in against David, the win. One of the questions that have been asked of Solomon several times, or many people have questioned, is his power. Now, your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think with a lot of his fights, he's fought like sort of rugged journeymen that have come to survive and get through. You know, he has got power, Solomon has. You know, I feel it every day on the pads and that.
I've seen
people feel it. People feel it in the spar. You know, you've seen it yourself, haven't you? You know, like he lands correctly. You don't know about it, you know. Then you go look at the other way. You can over rely on power. Do you know what I mean? You know, you got to be able to box and set these power shots up. But Sol will, you'll see Sol. The stoppages will come, and the more the competitive these fights are, when people are not sort of going into their shell there to survive and tougher, they're bracing for shots and that. Once someone opens up in front of him, you'll see he's got power.
We love it. I've got to talk about the heavyweight fight that's coming up as well. So obviously we wish, you know, Team Dacres all the best on July the 20th. But we've got Daniel Dubois, or Anthony Joshua, I should say, versus Daniel Dubois. Max, I need your opinion on that. You've been for years, you were in Anthony Joshua's corner with your brother. So talk to us about that fight, Max.
It's a good matchup, real good matchup. Like Dubois sort of regrouped, hasn't he, after Joyce? He got himself back on track. Thought it was, you know, he'd done really well against Hrgovic. A lot of people were favouring Hrgovic. I think he's come on. I think he's matured a lot. He's believing in himself. I think he's, you know, mentally he's matured, and he's got a chance. You know, obviously Joshua's the favourite. You know, his experience, he can hit. Joshua can, but I mean, so can Daniel Dubois. You know, they can both. He's probably the bigger hitter, Daniel Dubois.
You reckon?
I think he's probably the heavier puncher, but Joshua's a good combination puncher, isn't he? He's quick. But it could be who lands first in that fight.
Really?
Yeah, it could be, you know. I think he's come on, Daniel Dubois. It's, you know, obviously you'd have to favour Anthony Joshua with his, you know, with his experience and, you know, he's seen and done it all before. But on the other hand, Dubois has gained a bit of experience now. He could be really, you know, breaking through. But it's a good fight.
What do you think about Daniel Dubois' improvement then? Because I will credit, and I do believe a lot of credit needs to go to Don Charles, because I believe that Don Charles has worked with him like on the mental side, really brought him out of himself, and he's more confident. I mean, you've seen the face-off where, you know, he riled AJ and AJ threatened to hit him over the head with a chair or whatever it was. But we're seeing a different type of animal.
Yeah, he's coming out, like he's turning into a man, isn't he? You can see him sort of developing into a man. He's, you know, he's got his own point of view on things and that, you know, he's maturing a lot, and you can see, you know, it's going to work out well. Maybe Don Charles has had a good effect on him going there, but he's you can see naturally he's maturing as a man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's good to see, because I've known Daniel since he was a kid, since he was 18, up at GB. When he was first on there, I've watched him sparring all of them, you know, Joyce, Joshua, you know, like about 10 years ago. So it's nice to see him come from a kid, and he's really developing into a nice young man now, you know. But it's a really exciting fight.
I've got to ask then, before we go back to the UK Saudi card, I'd like to call it, the Riyadh season card. You've just mentioned Joyce there. He's fighting Chisora. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, there's a little smirk there. I kind of like had the same smirk when I heard about it. But look, seriously, how do you see that fight? And
do you know what it is? It's a good fight for both of them, isn't it? Okay. You know, they're not only some young kid that's on his way up, you know, that's a wrecking ball. So, like, it's a good fight for both of them too at their age. You know, they're knocking on it, both of them. But Joyce should come through it. If he's got anything left, Joyce, he should be doing a job, you know, on Derek Chisora. But, you know, you can't write Chisora off. He'll have a swing up. He'll go for it. Chisora will. You know, he's entertained people for years, hasn't he, Derek Chisora? You know, he's done well, but he should be coming through Joyce with that fight. But it's a good fight. It's a good London fight.
Do you think Joel Joyce's career, because like you said, see how much he's got left. Obviously, we saw the two fights we saw that devastation what he did to Joseph Parker, and then Joseph Parker's gone on a massive trajectory of success. And then we saw obviously Joel Joyce lose twice to Zhang, and it's obviously he was in. I know he stopped Cash Ali, but it was still Cash Ali was in the fight and was catching him with some good shots. When you look at his career, like you said, they're both knocking on. Boxing can be, I guess it can be as long as or short as a career as you actually make it. Because I know Joyce turned over late, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, you can have one bad fight and it can age you overnight, can't it?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know what effects the losses he's had from Zhang have had on him, but, you know, he's obviously with age, he's slowed a little, but just see if he can pull this one out the bag now and turn the years back, you know. But yeah, it's an exciting fight.
It's a week after your fight, but I've got to ask as well, obviously being from GB, I've got to ask, what do you think about Joshua Buatsi versus Willie Hutchinson? Because before, I might have said, yeah, Buatsi. Now, I'm like, ooh, this is actually a tough fight. But what are your thoughts?
It's a good fight. Buatsi's proven, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? All he hasn't done is won a world title, really. He's heavy-handed. He's always fit. He's always ready to fight. Whereas, you know, he's got the pedigree from the amateurs, Olympic bronze medalist. So, like, he really needs to show his qualities now in this fight. But Willie Hutchinson, his confidence will be flying high now from the win over Craig Richards. So you don't know. It's a good fight, but I'd favour Buatsi. I think if Buatsi can, you know, just keep working behind that jab, keep breaking him down, and, you know, counter him when he needs to, I think he can win the fight.
I can't not speak about Tyler Denny, obviously from the BCB side of town, Warsaw, because every time I say Birmingham, he screams at me, and so do all of his fans. Black Country, Tyler Denny, we're right next to each other, but yeah, Black Country. Your thoughts on him versus, you know, Queensbury's favourite, Hamza Shiraz?
Yeah, I really like Tyler Denny. I like Errol Johnson as well, and all that. I like all that gym. Their sound.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm pleased for them. You know, I'm pleased that they've got a big fight. But it's a shame it's that Hamza Shiraz, because he's a handful. He's enormous. He can punch. You know, he's a horrible opponent. But you can't write Tyler Denny off. If he gets inside and flusters him and works him, you know, he's got a chance. I'd love to see him pull it off. But you know, it's not an easy fight. It's a tough fight. You know, he's on his way up, isn't he, Hamza Shiraz? But yeah, I'm pleased for Tyler Denny, and give him a chance. You know what I mean? If he turns up and get over 4 or 5 rounds and really put it on him, get inside, you know, getting close, work him. He's been hurt before, isn't he, Shiraz? He's dipped. He's been caught. So, you know, say he's not a puncher, Tyler Denny, but I think he's got heavy enough hands. You know, yeah. Really good, another really good fight.
So what do you think then about the rematch that's due to happen in December between obviously Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury? Talk to us about that, Max.
Yeah, that was a really good fight.
It was
really good. He's a special talent. Well, they're both special talents, Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. But Usyk, like coming from a cruiserweight, it's like, you know, he's done brilliant, hasn't he? He's beat Dubois, Joshua, Fury. You know, a few years ago, you couldn't have predicted that. But he's a real special talent. But I think if Tyson just gets his head together, really puts the work in, comes in the he's got to be in the best shape ever he's been in.
Okay.
And he's, you know, a little bit more aggressive and sort of, you know, uses that jab and, you know, works a little bit harder. Do you know what I mean? I think he hurt Usyk. You know, I don't see why he can't hurt him again if you can put them shots together and stay solid behind the jab. But it's Alexander Usyk, isn't it? He can make the adjustments. You know, he's, like I said, he's a special fighter. But I'm looking forward to it. It's another really good fight.
The part of me was wishing that was going to be in the UK, but I get it, it's massive, so it's going to go back out to Saudi. But I'm going to end on another heavyweight. We've got Martin Bakole or Jared Anderson versus Martin Bakole. I favoured, if the Bakole that went in and fought Tony Yoka, I favour that Bakole to win. But your thoughts?
Yeah, he's got to be, his weight's got to be right.
Does it look like
Bakole? I'm not sure. His weight's got to be right, and he's got to be in tip-top shape, hasn't he? Mm. But he's a really good fighter, Mike Bakole. He's just so relaxed. And
do we underestimate him, Max?
He's a really good fighter. I've seen him sparring. I've seen Sol sparring with that. Oh. And he's a really, you know, he's really relaxed. He doesn't load up. He just, you know, his shots flow. You know, applies pressure well. But I just think he's got to be in top shape, and his weight's got to be right. He's got to be really fit. I'll give him a chance. But if not, you got to go with Jared Anderson, haven't you? You know, he's on the way up. Can punch a bit. But maybe there might be enough more than they can chew with Mike Bakole, because he's a really good fighter. And on his day, I think he can beat anyone.
And when you look at Jared Anderson, because obviously I'm looking at Jared Anderson's like in the same like prospect bolt as Solomon. So this is a potential matchup that could happen maybe for a world title later on down the line. So when you look at Jared Anderson as fighter, what do you see as a trainer? What do you see as his attributes?
He's young, isn't he? You know, his confidence is high. I think he had like a decent fight with Charles Martin. Yeah, you know, probably a wake-up call to him. But the fighters like that they need fights like that to really kick on. Do you know what I mean? To realise, you know, I gotta really put the work in now. So I don't know. I mean, as of now, I'd favour Martin Bakole if he's in tip-top condition and his weight's right. And, you know, anything apart from that, he's got a chance, hasn't he, Jared Anderson?
Jarrell Miller gets another chance. You know what? He's hilarious.
Yeah.
I know he's failed 800 drug tests. Allegedly, I'm only joking, not 800. But I know he's had that behind him. But he's actually quite a funny character, and he's getting opportunity against Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, fair play to him. He's obviously he's getting himself back in the gym. He's getting himself fit, isn't he? You know, and he's a character, isn't he?
He is.
And he took a lot of heavy shots off Daniel Dubois, so you got to give it him. You know, he was quite tough in that fight, you know, until he finally got to him. But yeah, these are the sort of fights people want to see, aren't they? But Andy Ruiz is deceiving. He's got quick hands, heavy-handed, got a good boxing brain. You know, he's not the best on the eye physically, but world-class fighter. You know, he's a top fighter. That'd be a good fight.
Listen, Max, we're going to close it off there. Is there anything else that you want to say before we say our goodbyes?
We forgot about Matty Harris, didn't he?
Oh my God, Matty Harris! Oh, he's going to delete me off Instagram now. Sorry, Matty, not intentional. Promise.
Yeah, it was good to see him back. He
needed that knockout, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he hasn't been stopped since 2018, and he usually takes the prospects the distance. But like,
scrambled him.
It's just too heavy-handed. He's like, just punching powers is different level. You know, once he develops and starts knows when to bring the power shots in, and that starts really boxing behind that jab, he's going to be a handful in the division. Matt Harris is. He's had a little break now. He's gone to America. He's back today actually. So he'll be back in the gym Monday, ready to go in September again. But I was pleased for him because his confidence will be back up. The one before that, he was just like, he got the rounds in. The kid was a good survivor. Knew how to survive that, yeah, a man better. But this one was like got in on his chest and he was game, and you know, he was letting his hands go, looping the right hands over the top. So it was a good result to get him out there in the second round. So next year, a few more fights. He'll be looking for bigger fights. Matty Harris will. He's going to be a force in the division. Still only 24. And I've got to mention young Matt Williams as well.
Yes.
He's been in the gym.
The animal.
He's been in the gym regular. You look at the list of fighters that he sparred. He sparred Joe Joyce. Fraser. He's done 10 rounds with Joe Joyce on the Monday. Then he went down on the Wednesday, done 8 rounds with him. This kid's only 19 years old. He's got a real big future. He spars Sol regular, spars Hughie Fury regular, spars Matty Harris. He's not taking, he knows how to survive in there, he gets himself around. Do you know what I mean? So all this experience that he's gaining, he's only going to, already at 19 years of age. He's a national champion. He got to the senior elites semi-finals. He's beat the reigning champion. He beat him on his home show in January. But he'd obviously done his homework. And he lost in the return on a split decision. So
split.
On a split decision. So he's a real talent that's coming through. That's, he's regular in the gym. And so, that's one to look at. But Matty Harris will be back out in September. It'll be York Hall in London. I think Charlie Edwards is on it against...
right.
What's the kid's name now? Thomas Assomba.
Yes.
European title. So that'd be another really good big Wasserman show that Matt's on. So he can show how he's improving under Peter Fury. Peter Fury's done a brilliant job with him. There's no messing around with him. He has to do what he's told when he's in the gym. So he's been really good for him. See you later.
So finally then, we're coming to the end. Anything else that you want to say before we close off? Just
July the 20th. It's not far off now. We've worked long and hard for it. Sol's going to be in the shape of his life. Really looking forward to the fight. I hope David Adeleye comes at his best, because he's going to need to be at his best. So that's it. And there's a few tickets left. Just get in touch, message me or message Sol. He hasn't got many left, but everyone from Birmingham, get behind him now. It's a big fight in Birmingham, big heavyweight fight. And that's what we love. We've got to stand up for our Brummies, and a true Brummie. We're not Black Country, we're actually Brummies. But Max, an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me in the gym as well. I really do appreciate that. You're always welcome, Abby. You know that. See? You're always welcome. I'm always welcome. Anyway, stay ready.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.